Am I the a-hole for supporting my son and wanting to go non-contact with my soon-to-be ex-wife? So this is a pretty simple one, I'd think. My wife, 39 female, and I, 39 male, are going through an admittedly pretty messy divorce. I thought everything was fine with our relationship until my son, 14 male, told me that he walked in on her cheating on me with our next-door neighbor's son, 20-ish I think, and that it's been going on for a year now. Obviously, I do the expected thing and move out and file for divorce, since she'll probably end up with a house. The thing is, my son wanted to come with me. I made him stay with her till I got a place lined up, but ever since he's been living with me and is refusing to spend time with her or even speak with her. The entire time I've been supportive of this. She's come as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why I should try to convince him otherwise. Custody came up in the divorce. We're both requesting primary, and when it came to asking my son what he wanted, he said that he didn't want anything to do with my wife. Ever since then, my wife has been plastering all over social media that I've been poisoning him against her, which is causing a lot of other family members and others I know to get on my case about it. While I wouldn't say that I've been poisoning him, I haven't exactly been trying to get him to think better of her, which is what some of my family members and friends are angry at me for doing. My sister especially has been on my case about it. She tells me that I should be telling my son off whenever he expresses how he feels about his mother and that I should be encouraging him to sort things out with her and to see things from her perspective. While I understand that this is something that would help him get some form of a relationship back with her, I honestly don't see how it's my place to do that. My wife cheated on me for a college kid and threw me and our son away for it. I don't get why I should be helping her to get away with this regarding our son and his feelings about the situation. My sister and everyone else I've shared my thoughts with are calling me a major a-hole for it. So I'd like to see if others who don't know either of us agree with them or whether or not it's just a microcosm of our social group and family. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to make that decision for himself. You're just supporting and enabling him to make that decision. Just be aware of the influence you have when you talk about her with him. Not the a-hole. OP, what your wife did was hideous and your son witnessed it himself. So you were not poisoning his mind. His mom did that all by herself. But your child definitely needs therapy, and I think it would help you too to get into therapy yourself. As for the family members who are blaming you, tell them to mind their business or you will cut contact with them too. I personally am not in favor of social media's smear campaigns as it does more harm than good and can easily get out of hand. So block and ignore your ex. Other than that, try your best to get full custody of your son and don't pressure your son to start having a relationship with his mom again. He can do that if he wants to down the road. I will say this though, before the exodus, I definitely hit one of her posts up complaining about Opie poisoning her son against her with a... Well, actually, Opie's wife was caught by son smashing 20-year-old neighbor and then came to his own conclusion about the value of his mother and then screenshot. Post to Reddit for karma and wait for her to block you while having the solace that 50% of the people that interacted with that post now knows the facts. Oh, and not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry your wife did that to you. But I'm 100 in supporting of kids deciding whether they want to put themselves in that situation. So long as you make sure your son knows you would facilitate any contact he wants with the ex-wife in the future, you're doing the best for him. Obviously, don't talk bad about her to him, etc. But he's old enough now to make decisions, and if he doesn't want contact, I think it's fair to respect that. For context, my 14-year-old just moved back to me after 5 years with her dad. At that time, she was mistreated, gaslighted, poisoned against me, and I had no contact with her. Eventually, she came to see me and saw how much she'd lied to her and how bad things were there. She's now with me and under police advisory to not talk to him or have anything to do with her dad. And I've been advised from professionals that you shouldn't and can't really ever force a child to have contact with a parent or to not contact them. It only serves to damage them emotionally in the long run. Trust your son. He needs to heal from this too. Continue to be supportive to him at any future relationship with his mom and you'll be okay. I felt like I was reading a post made by my family member because I'm experiencing the exact same situation from your son's point of view. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to form his own opinions and make up his mind. My advice would be to not discuss it unless he wants to talk about the situation, because if you continuously bring it up, your family members and ex-wife will claim to be justified in you poisoning him. Similar with me, though I discovered my dad was cheating when I was 21, so I was in college and not living at home full-time, and got married less than a year later and moved out permanently. My mom constantly, even 4 years later after their divorce has been finalized, complains about my dad to me, and it's very hard to deal with. And every time I tell her I don't want to talk about it, she gets upset with me. I still love my dad as my dad, so it's hard to hear her complaints. I think it's important for the dad in this situation to do his best not to poison his son's opinion of his mom because while she was awful in cheating and OP, she is still his son's mom. A person can be an awful partner and still a good parent, and therapy should definitely be required. But in the end, it's still the son's decision, and I don't blame him for being betrayed by his mother and not wanting to see her. Not stay home. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to see my dad because of my stepmother's racist comments? I'm 16 female and half white, half Chinese. My parents have been split up for a while, so I'm mostly over it. They're a lot happier without each other, so while it sucked, it's fine. It's weird sometimes when I'm with my dad, people assume I'm adopted, but usually he's good at correcting people, except for my stepmom. I really did try to like her in the beginning, but she's kind of racist. The first time I met her, she wouldn't stop touching and commenting on my hair and how I looked like a K-pop star. It just got worse the longer they were together. She would do things like tell people she was my tiger mom, and make comments about my body type and plastic surgery. And when she moved in, she had my dad ask me to only speak English in the house and watch English shows because it made her uncomfortable if she couldn't understand what was being said. When they got married, she kinda sneakily left me out of the wedding photos. And when I asked why, she said she wanted a certain aesthetic, which I guess is a nice way of saying white. I've talked to my dad about it a lot and he says he'll talk to her, but he never does. And also that she just doesn't have a lot of familiarity with Asian people. So I have to be patient with her because she's learning. My mom and stepdad were really angry about how she treats me, but they can't exactly do anything about my stepmom. So they just said that if I ever feel like I need to leave, I can call either of them at any time and they'll come get me. It really hit the fan a couple of weeks ago. My stepmom is pregnant and had her baby shower, and I heard her make a comment about how I don't look very much like my dad. So now he'll also have a kid that resembles him, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I called my mom to come pick me up and left. My dad called me a few hours later and I told him what his wife said. And he said he would talk to her, but I told him he always says that and nothing changes. So I'm not coming over to his house anymore. And maybe he should stick with his white family. Stepmother texted me to apologize, but I told her it wasn't accepted and I don't want to talk to her anymore. My mom and stepdad and my grandparents on the side support me, but my dad is really upset, and my grandparents on my dad's side are really mad at me, and people have been telling me that even if my stepmom is being a pill, I shouldn't write off my dad because he's not the one doing it. I love my dad, but I just don't want to see his wife again. And if that means I don't see my dad too because he won't stand up to her, maybe that's how it needs to be. Not stay home. Your racist stepmom is, and so is your racist dad. Your dad supporting her beliefs make him racist too? You don't deserve to be treated like that just because you don't meet their aesthetic. I know, right? That's messed up. Opie's future sibling will probably ask in the future, why is Opie not in the wedding pictures? Opie's stepmom be like, because she's not part of the aesthetics. WTF? You mean because she's not white, really? That's what it is. Not stay home. Cut these people from your life completely. If your father does nothing to stop the stepmother, he condones it. He married her knowing her views, which makes him racist. He married her knowing she was awful to his daughter, which makes him a failure as a father. Opie needs to keep herself emotionally safe from her loser bigot dad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my significant other that his daughter cannot come over to our new house until we meet up again? Me, 26 female, and my significant other, 32 male, have been together for 5 years. And he has 2 children with his ex, Anna, 31 female. They have Leo, 8 male, and Leia, 14 female together. Me and my significant other decided to wait until we were dating for 1 year for me to meet his children. We met up for lunch at a local restaurant, and while Leo liked me, Leia didn't speak a word. I assumed she was not ready to warm up to me just yet. After that, we scaled back to brief video calls where she wouldn't say anything. This went on for another 6 months, and then me and my significant other moved in together. Leo came every other week for visits for the first month, and Leia never came. She told significant other she didn't want to be around me, so she wasn't going to come for visitation. So my significant other did visitation at his sister's house. This worked out okay. It was just awkward because the sister lives 5 minutes away from our old apartment, and the kids lived 20 minutes away from us. So it was a lot of driving back and forth. This has been the arrangement for years. The entire time, I've been inviting Leia out through my significant other with us to get to know her better. We go out at least 4 to 5 times per month and do various activities. Parks, museums, zoo, malls, go-karts, restaurants, everything. Leo tags along sometimes, but Leia's never come. March 1st, I closed on my dream apartment. 3 beds, 2.5 baths, study, huge balcony. It's gorgeous. We've moved in and I'm so excited to start making our home here. I posted a video on social media and Anna's seen it and showed Leia. Anna blew up my significant other's phone asking him when he was going to tell Leia that he moved. He did tell Leia, and she said, "Oh, okay." After Leia seen our new home, she asked significant other when she would be able to come over and decorate her new room. I told him under no circumstances will Leia be allowed into her new room until she agrees to meet us outside for an outing. I love her because she's my partner's daughter, but I don't know her. I've only ever heard her voice in videos she posts to social media. She has never spoken a word to me. My significant other is incredibly sad because he just wants his daughter to visit him again, but he agrees with me. Anna and Leia obviously disagree, and so does my in-laws. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Everyone sucks here. For the past 5 years, everybody has agreed to let a child, she was 9 at the beginning, decide if/when/where she wanted to see her father. Also, if you bought that apartment with your significant other, his daughter has every right to come whenever she wants, as it is also her home. The adults need to do better by that child. I actually agree with this. My significant other has allowed the situation to drag out for 4 years, and it's unfair to all of us. He allowed a child to dictate the terms of their relationship. 4 years of family events where he had to exclude me because she wouldn't come if I was there. 4 years of living a double life to keep us separated. I purchased that apartment with my own money. I made sure to include a private bedroom for her when she was ready to come around. I'm assuming she's ready now, but she is saying she absolutely does not want to go out for dinner or an activity. She just wants to decorate and start coming over. She wants a relationship with her father, not with you. That's her right. The more you're going to push, the more she's going to run. Is it going to suck for you? Yes, but you made a choice to move in with him knowing he had a daughter who wanted nothing to do with you. You either accept that or tell your significant other to find another place to live. Cool, that's her right. She can have that relationship at his sister's then because her apartment isn't his apartment. It has got no right to demand a room for the kid. Yep, the bio parents have had 5 years to establish a relationship and set boundaries that would let Opie get to know the 14-year-old at least enough that the 14-year-old would already have their space in the apartment. The 14-year-old made her choice, and now she's learning that what she does or doesn't do may have unforeseen consequences. Opie has every right not to have a stranger in her home. All she's asking for is an outing to get to know the girl. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for how I'm treating my daughter? My daughter, 32 female, and I, 69 female, are very close. We used to live in the southern part of the US. I divorced her father when she was 13, and then she made a decision to cut him out of her life. So it's pretty much been just the two of us ever since. About 9 years ago, she chose to move up to the East Coast to look for work after her college graduation. I was supportive and happy when she found something. About 5 years ago, my mom died, so I had no family left in the South. I wanted to move, and it was either move to the East Coast to be near my daughter or move out west to be near my brother and his partner. My daughter said, "If you want to move up here, I'm fine with it. But don't do it just for me, because I'm not attached to this area, so who knows if I'll stay." I said I understood, but decided to move there anyway. I purchased a condo in the same town and have lived here ever since. About 2 years ago, my daughter needed to move out of her apartment because of some issues with her neighbors, and it just so happened that the condo next door to mine became available to rent. The rent was too good for her to pass up, so she moved in. I love that we live so close. Anyway, about 8 months ago, she started dating a man from a town about an hour away. They are planning on her moving in with him, since he owns his house, which means she will be about an hour away from me. I'm happy for her, and I like her boyfriend, but I'm not going to lie that I'm a little sad about her moving. Anyway, for the last few months, she has become very short with me on a lot of topics. Like, I ask her if her boyfriend is okay with the state of cleanliness that her condo is. I don't think she cleans it well enough. It will be fine with his home being like that. She just blankly stares at me and bluntly says, "Yes, he's been to my place and knows what it looks like." Or when I ask if she was going to start making herself look pretty for the day once she has him around all the time. She works from home and he does for part of the week too. She, again, just stared at me and bluntly said, "He knows what I look like, so I'm fine." The other issue is that his parents live in the same town as him and the two of them see them all of the time for dinners and such, a lot more than they see me. I guess some of my jealousy shows in my face, because she has commented on it several times, but I just act like everything is fine. All in all, she's making me feel like I'm treating her badly recently, but being so short with me, and I'm afraid that I'm not ever going to see her after she moves. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I don't know if this is specifically a Southern thing or if it extends to more cultures, but comments like you're making to your daughter made me incredibly insecure. If I didn't clean enough, I wasn't lovable. If I didn't do my makeup, I wasn't pretty. So my natural face wasn't pretty. You're making these comments to make her feel less secure in her relationship. Whether you're doing it consciously or not, the result is the same. You are undermining her self-confidence. And yes, you're probably going to lose your close bond. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel self-conscious. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel unlovable. Texan here. When I was in college, my boyfriend and I evacuated to my grandparents' ranch following a hurricane. I was an evacuee. I was on a ranch. I wasn't wearing makeup or dressing up, but that's not any different from any other time on the ranch. My granny told me I had let myself go, presumably because the boyfriend would see me at my worst since it was never a problem prior. Ranch kid here. Well, it's a good thing she can cook. Said at the end of a muddy, bloody day of me working cattle. Thanks, Pops. You just undermined pretty much all of the fears and dependence you instilled in me. All for a laugh from the menfolk. Update. I broke my wife and I don't think it is fixable. Original post. This happened 6 months ago and I'm only choosing to talk about it now because I don't see any improvement in sight. And I feel hopeless. We were at a party. My friend is single and we started talking about love and relationships. My wife and I have been happily married for 7 years. We have 3 beautiful children. She is the love of my life. When I was talking to my friend, I felt like we were on different levels of thinking. His complaints were mostly superficial about how the people he dated looked. I was a bit drunk at that point and said something like, "You don't fall in love with looks. Look at me and my wife. I love her more than anything compared to my ex, who was just looks." Everyone went silent, and my damage control was even worse. So I ended up just shutting the heck up. I couldn't get my point across. But even I started to think that maybe these thoughts had been in my head and only came out when I was drunk. My wife was shocked. The first week, she was so angry and wanted to understand what I meant, but nothing I said was good enough. I told her I was drunk, that I love her, and that I think she's the most beautiful woman. but she thought being drunk made me say my true feelings. Then one morning, she just said, "You know, I have never felt as ugly as I have felt this past week. I have always thought I was beautiful." She didn't cry this time, but she hasn't been happy since. I started crying and apologizing, but she was emotionless. That was the last time she truly looked at me. She is now taciturn and distant, but only with me. She has lost 20 pounds and works out 6 to 7 days a week. She never has free time with me. If she's not with the children or her family and friends, she's immersed in a book or has her headphones on. She's always fully clothed now, even in bed. She locks the bathroom door when she showers. She is more active in social media too. She shares many pictures of herself and she thanks everyone who gives her a compliment. Before, it was just pictures with our children and pets, but now it's her, working out in sports bras and tights. I broke her and I don't know how to fix it. Now for the top advice before reading the update. So, are you going to answer any of the comments asking about what you said as damage control? Because that's a very important detail that you left out of your post, and it definitely matters. My friend, my wife, and my wife's friend and husband were very silent, and I started saying I didn't mean that my wife wasn't good looking, I just meant that I loved her for other things. Then, even worse, I said that sometimes you are very attracted to someone and everything is a whirlwind with them, but you have nothing in common and see no future. I probably alluded to the fact that I used my brain and not my junk when looking for a relationship. I thought it was the logical way of thinking, but for her, I think she would have preferred that whirlwind and passion. I haven't read all the comments yet. This is the first one I read that asked me to explain the damage control. If you love her, you'd find a way. Plus, when you love someone, they automatically become the hottest person to you. Even if you didn't think it when you met, once you fall in love, real love, that's it. Tunnel vision. It doesn't mean they're perfect or that you're obsessed 24/7 or super attracted all the time, but they become the one. Now, all that said, if you love your wife and your child and would do anything for them, you need to fix it. And why the heck is a grown and married man talking about scales of hotness with another grown man? Are y'all really this shallow and stupid? Has she been there for you? Does she take care of you, love you, make you feel wanted? Go fix your mess. When I met her and fell in love with her, she was the most attractive girl I knew, to this day. That's what I was trying to say. She is very beautiful, but that wasn't the only reason I fell for her. It was beyond looks. Looks become superficial and unimportant when you love someone. She finally agreed to couples therapy after I showed her this post. I don't want to be too hopeful, but after her suggestion that I would sleep with other women, I think even she understood that it was very hurtful to me. Now for the update. We have been going to counseling, and at first, my wife was very reluctant to open up and wanted to pretend that everything was fine. During one session, she suddenly asked me, "I want the truth, here and now. No sugarcoating, and do not try to spare my feelings. Did you find me attractive when we met?" I really didn't know what to say to this. I love her more than anything, even more than my children and myself. I think she's the most beautiful woman I know. But did I immediately think that when I met her? No, I didn't really find her attractive. We all grow up having a type. I remember thinking that she wasn't exactly my type, but she was so lovable and sweet. It didn't take me long to fall for her, and now I find women who look like her attractive, so I guess type is something very superficial and fleeting. I told her the truth. She cried and said that she didn't even know why she was so hurt and crying. She knew there were more beautiful women. She never wanted to be the most beautiful woman either. But she had always been considered beautiful by other people, which is true, and had always gotten attention. What made her sad was the fact that the one person she wanted to be found the most beautiful by didn't think that. And that was painful because she loved me way before we even started dating. This happened during our latest session, and it was the most draining experience. Later, when we got home, she apologized for making a big deal out of something so trivial. But she also said she just couldn't help it, and she was confused as to why it affected her so badly. On Saturday, she told me that she didn't want to stay in our marriage, that something inside her had broken. She asked me if I would try to hurt her and the children if we separated. if I would use them to get back at her, if I would alienate her because she chose to leave. I promised her that none of this would happen and that I loved her and wanted her to be happy, even if it wasn't with me. Our families are in an uproar over this, mostly angry with her, saying she let her insecurities get the best and worst of her. But I don't think it's insecurity, to be honest. She has never cared about other people's attention. She just realized that the only person whose approval she cared about never really gave it to her. At least not in the way she wanted. The fact that I had to learn to see her that way wasn't enough. And there is way more to this story for sure, especially the fact that they're in counseling already. This is most likely the straw that broke the camel's back. This is an update for the husband's original post. The counseling is relatively new due to an incident where OP humiliated his wife at a party by basically saying to his friend, "Stop being so shallow about women. Look at my wife. She's no beauty queen, but I love her," in so many words. The OP's wife became detached, started hardcore working out, and glowing up. Apparently, their marriage was perfect until he had the audacity to say that, and then just made excuses for half a year. Yeah, I'd be devastated too. Dude, your pencil is not sharp at all. You really could have changed the way you said that to her. I had a type back then, but one look at you and the type has broken. You were the most amazing woman I had ever met. You were different from every other woman in the best ways possible. You could have also said, you fall in like with looks. You fall in love with the person they are. Your wife is struggling, and you keep putting your foot in your mouth. He is so painfully honest in the worst and most stupid way ever. Too honest for his own good. Don't have to lie, but can word it at least a bit better to reassure her how you really feel. Next story. I'm relieved that my wife passed away. My wife's health had been slowly and not too steadily declining for the last 2 decades. We found out at the start of last year that she had probably had MS for most of those 20 years, previously undiagnosed. By the end, she was wheelchair-bound, barely able to stand at all, and required constant assistance. And she refused to cooperate with the physical therapists and nurses who were trying to help her. She did the absolute minimum she felt she could get away with it, and she rarely, if ever, thought about the impact of her decisions or what she said on other people. For the last 5 years, more and more of my time had been taken up being a live-in caregiver for her. This was on top of working a full-time job to support us. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was tired of being treated as little more than a servant to meet her needs. In August of 2024, she finally got bad enough that I couldn't deal with it anymore, and we transitioned her into a long-term care facility. For a while, that seemed to be going well. But then in early November, she got a cough, and it kept getting worse. By the first week or 2 of December, it was bad. They sent her to the hospital where she was diagnosed with pneumonia and was strongly advised to be put on a ventilator. She reluctantly agreed, and she never woke up. Her condition continued to get worse and worse, despite the best efforts of the medical staff. On the 19th, she passed away. I was devastated. We were married for 25 years and I loved her. But I'm also relieved, both for myself and for her. For her, because she had been more and more miserable over the years as her capabilities faded, and she felt worse and worse. She wasn't happy. For myself, because as much as I loved her, I had lost myself. My entire existence had been dedicated to her for years. I had no hobbies to speak of. I had no ability to go out and do things away from the house. I had no energy. And now I have time again. I can do things like go on a hike in the mountains all day without worrying about whether she's fallen in the bathroom and hit her head. I can spend time working on my hobbies. I have a budget that I have full control of again and can save money without having to fight with someone who wants to spend money just because it exists. I can go to the gym and work on my own health, which had definitely suffered for the past 10 years. So yes, I am relieved that my wife passed away. And I feel guilty about that sometimes, but not that guilty. You did more than enough. More than a lot of people in that position could actually. You faithfully upheld your vows to the end. Much respect and admiration to you, sir. You have earned your spot in whatever afterlife you believe in. You have also earned your freedom in this life. Hopefully you are healthy and have years ahead of you still. Good luck. Thank you. And yeah, I luckily still have most of my health. I'm very overweight and ended up with diabetes, but I've got my diabetes under good control, and I'm going out to the gym and working out with a personal trainer. I suspect if I had continued as I was much longer, I would have started to slide down a dangerous slope very quickly. But I have hopefully caught it in time and can undo most of the damage. Good news is, with diet and exercise, you can reverse diabetes. I don't even care if I need to be on insulin the rest of my life, which I may or may not need to be. I just want to be able to be physically active outdoors again. Hiking, skiing, ham radio, astronomy, photography, etc. Caregiver burnout is a real thing. I'm a nurse who has worked with many critical long-term care patients and it's not easy, and I got to go home at the end of the day. There's no need for guilt. You took the best care of her you could, and when you couldn't anymore, you put her somewhere that could. Grief is also different for people who have loved ones with long illnesses. You've probably been grieving for years whether you've realized it or not. So to outsiders, it may seem like you've moved on sooner, but the reality is that you've already been grieving. Yes, I definitely did some pre-grieving. I also lost my mother a few years ago, so I had some practice at that tier of grief. And I'm naturally pretty stoic as well, so while I was a wreck the day of the memorial, I've been mostly okay otherwise, and actually feeling pretty good most of the time. Last story. My brother introduced the family to his sugar baby / gold digger, and everyone is acting like it's normal. For background, my 34 male brother 37 male is independently very wealthy after climbing the ranks of a successful tech startup that struck big. He is also very generous with his money. For instance, he has set up funds to ensure our parents will be taken care of for their lives. He covers the bill at restaurants and it pays for the family's accommodations when we travel. The rest of our family is financially stable with careers, upper middle class, so we do not need him to do this and never assume he will cover things, but he often insists. He was in a 7-year relationship, 2 years married, with his ex-wife, 35 female, prior to getting divorced. They met in college, when they were both poor. His divorce was a dark time for him, and he was admittedly depressed, which was hard on the whole family. He was single for about 2 years after his divorce and dated casually, but never mentioned any serious relationships. About 2 years ago, our other sibling got married, and my brother, then single, flew into town for the wedding event. He was noticeably in a foul mood, very unlike himself, especially when all the siblings get together. He told me he had previously been seeing a new girl, Maggie, who had recently blocked him from all communication platforms after he made a joke that did not land well, and he was effectively going through a breakup. I offered my support, but he clearly did not want to talk about it at the time. 6 months later, he announced to the family that Maggie was now his girlfriend and that they had been dating for 2 months, and then learned she was 19 years old at the time they met, and she had been living in his apartment for the last 2 months. After meeting Maggie for the first time, I found out she was a first-year university student studying marketing. She's obsessed with luxury brands, exotic travel / vacations, and Instagram. Most importantly, she lost her apartment 2 months prior due to financial instability, right around the time she and my brother started dating after the initial breakup. She's very pretty, easy to talk to, and shares interesting thoughts. But one can't help but notice the stark contrast in maturity and life experience between her, my brother, and the rest of us siblings and spouses. She and my brother don't seem to have any interests in common, aside from some movies, books, and TV shows. She also mentioned that she has had prior sugar-like relationships with older men who took her and her friends on luxury yacht vacations. My brother is infatuated, bends to her every whim, can't keep his hands off her, and of course finances everything. She pouts if things are not exactly to her liking, and it caves immediately. I have not heard if she has an allowance, but she has no personal income as she is a student. She expects to dine only at the best restaurants, wants him to purchase her luxury bags and shoes, and he pays for her maintenance. hair, nails, facials, personal trainer, etc. He overall seems happy, which makes me happy. But I have a deep mistrust of her and the situation. They have now been dating for 1 year. He introduced her to the extended family, mom, dad, siblings, siblings-in-law, and kids, this Christmas, and everyone was very nice and inclusive of her. Since the holidays, when I have privately and lightly broached the topic of their age difference and financial dynamic with members of my family, my siblings and parents do not seem as suspicious or concerned as I am. They're just happy he seems happier than he was around the time of his divorce and the other family wedding when Maggie had blocked him. We are not a family who openly talks about dysfunction. I'm not sure if or how I should talk with my brother about it. I think everyone missed the part where the brother was upset about being blocked 2 years ago at the wedding when the two people in question would have been 17 and 35. I'm sorry, OP, but that's just wrong. However, given his infatuation and likely inability to be open to a conversation about the age difference, I'd take a different approach. Talk to him from a financial standpoint. He said he set up a fund for your parents to be taken care of, so perhaps talk to him about making sure he has an irrevocable trust that pays him and only him so he's taken care of too. That way, even if he never wakes up to what Maggie is doing or how inappropriate their relationship is, he could at least be secure in having an income that she can't bleed anymore than the next monthly payment. She was 19 when I met her and when all this started, and this was over 1 year ago. She's now 20. He is 37. Sorry for the confusion. I don't have any issues with her. I only see red flags with him, to be honest. I don't understand how people have such a problem with women being labeled as gold diggers, yet don't express the same concerns when men, who could date age-appropriate women, choose to pursue literal teenagers or young adults, whose brains aren't even fully developed yet. Update. My sister wants to use a burial plot that she doesn't own. Original post. My sister, 57 female, and I, 63 male, are estranged for many reasons. She was the golden child. I was given a 63 Chevy pickup when I got my driver's license, while she got a Mustang convertible. I went to college and ended up with student debt. She did drugs, had children out of wedlock, and got a mobile home, which she eventually lost due to her drug use. She had 2 wonderful kids who we were able to get removed from her custody, and they are doing well now. Our father raised them. My father and mother divorced in the late 1970s, partly due to distress caused by my sister. My mother tried to help her over the years, letting her live with her, helping her find jobs, but my sister always relapsed. Now to the present situation. My father passed away 4 years ago, and I bought him a nice burial plot in Bozeman, Montana. The plot is in my name and is located in a beautiful spot in the veterans section. My mother passed away last summer. I was at the hospital when she died, but my sister was nowhere to be found. My mom and I were able to reconnect without her interference. My mom's will stated that my sister and I were to inherit the house jointly, but somehow my sister got her name on the deed through right of survivorship, which meant she got the house. She tried to get me to help pay the remaining mortgage, but I refused, so she had to sell the house, and I bought it. She was furious and took my mom's remains, disappearing so we couldn't hold a proper ceremony. Now, 6 months later, she has reappeared claiming that she's paying for a burial. But here's the catch. My mother was a veteran, so a veteran group is covering the room about $500, and the VA is providing the headstone. Then I get a call from the funeral home asking if they should bury her with my dad, someone she divorced 50 years ago. What do I do here? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. No, I'm so sorry for your loss. Now that you have nothing tying you to your sister, it's time to go no contact. I need to make it clear, I haven't talked to her directly in years. Only through lawyers and indirectly via my mother when she was alive. She knows better than to talk to me. The last time she contacted me, she claimed mom needed money for an oxygen concentrator. I was dumb and sent it. A few days later, she was arrested for an overdose. That ended that. In addition to the headstone, Mom might also be eligible for burial at a U.S. veteran cemetery for free. Locate her DD-214 if you haven't already made other burial plans. We told her she could be buried for free at a national cemetery. My guess is she loves the plot I snagged for my dad, and I admit it is nice. Mini update. I am going to clarify a few things. 1. My parents' divorce was finalized in 1983, but they had been separated around 1978. 2. Was she really a terror as a kid? Yes, she started using drugs at 10 and sneaking boys into the house at 13 when I was away at college, 1978 to 1983. I was out of state during this time. My father was a retired Navy officer and there was a recession. My mom worked, but it was a struggle. I got through college on student loans, scholarships, and part-time jobs. 3. My parents tried treatment and even tried buying her good behavior. My brother basically gave up and joined the army. He was part of the 101st Airborne Division. So not all of us turned out poorly. For some update, I spoke to the funeral home today. It seems that my sister's plan was to place my mom's remains in the veteran wall at the cemetery. However, Bozeman Cemetery is not part of the National Cemetery System. Normally, a wall interment would be free for a veteran, but since Bozeman isn't part of the system, it costs $500. So she pointed to my dad's plot and said, "Bury her there." The funeral home called me when they realized the plot wasn't owned by her or my dad. And now, here we are. I'm trying to see if we can get the wall slot again. For now, my mom's remains are back at the funeral home. Now for the full updates. First update. After doing some research, I offered to pay to inter my mother in the veteran wall. My sister threw a fit, not directly to me as we don't talk, but through the funeral home. She let them know she wouldn't return the remains. I would have to buy a new plot, but I just bought a house and I'm in the process of furnishing it. So money is tight. She knew that. She is mad I bought my mom's house. She has driven by it several times. I'm about to put it on the short-term rental market. After talking to my family, the grandchildren, and others, I've thrown in the towel. We are burying Mom in Dad's plot. She will have an in-ground brass marker. It kills me that my sister has reduced my mom's service to a brass welcome mat at my father's headstone. My family says they'll know the truth, but damn, it still hurts. You are a family member. You can have her moved once it's done. I was going to suggest the same thing, and the entitled witch can go F herself. But don't tell anyone, just quietly do it. Just dig her up and put her somewhere else once this has settled down. Your father will thank you. Good thought. Don't get caught though, it's actually desecration of a grave. If you want to do it legally, wait until you can afford to have the cemetery disinter her and reinter her where you wanted originally. Although my mother was a fan of horror movies, I think she'd find it funny to imagine me digging up her urn to spread her ashes. Side note, her father, after retiring from the Navy, worked as a grave digger. My mom told me she used to bring him lunch while tending the cemetery. They lived near it, so she would explore it at night. Her sister even became a mortician for women in the late 1950s and early 1960s. They weren't allowed to prepare male bodies back then. Wait until your sister is busy elsewhere and move your mom with the help of the cemetery. Leave the marker just so you can laugh when she goes to visit. Second update. Today is the day of the burial. I was going to update afterward just to say we got it done, but the last 20 hours has been wild. My sister canceled the room at the funeral home and made it a graveside service only. She got a refund for the room. The reason she gave? They're shooting guns for the salute, so it should be outside. I found it when the funeral home called last night to ask me to pick up the urn and take it to the grave. My sister is in a wheelchair and cannot come graveside. I sent a message to the family group chat and her son, the only one that talks to her, exploded, as did her daughter. He called her and she cried. The honest answer is probably that she needed drug money and her disability check is still days away. I arranged to get a table at a military-themed restaurant in Bozeman. If you're from the area, you know the one, and we'll gather there to tell stories. Just a few minutes ago, I got a call from the funeral home offering a room at a discount, but we're sticking with our plans. As far as this funeral goes, my mother would have been buried in her home state of Pennsylvania near her family if my sister hadn't raked her remains and disappeared in September. You may want to check ownership of that plot. If she's anything like my sibling, she may have sold it from under the family. My sibling trashed all the living trust information our parents had set up. I tried to get them to change it years ago, but they didn't. Now they're stuck, and I can't help them, or myself. This all started when my sister sent out a message that she paid for the funeral for Mom, who died in September. She took the remains while her daughter and I were planning the funeral. I got a call from the funeral home, the same one that buried my dad 4 years ago, that she told them to bury her in the same plot. My parents have been divorced since 1983. She found out it would cost her to bury Mom in the veteran wall in Bozeman because it hasn't received VA approval yet. I bought that plot for my dad. Could you possibly move your mom later? We've had issues like this in our home country, where they disturbed my aunt's remains to put someone unrelated to us there, despite everyone's opposition. It was wild, but it's done. If your parents were divorced, why would they be buried together? I'd only do that if I personally wanted to be close to both of them. I'm sorry for your losses, and I'm sorry your sister is so troubled. I hope she can find a way out and get mental health assistance. That is what we are thinking of doing this summer. Now for the last update. The service was Thursday at 1 p.m. The American Legion Gallatin Valley Post 14 performed the final salute with a rifle volley and taps. The Navy sent an officer and an enlisted member to present the flag. I shared some words about my mom's service and her life for those who attended, though being in a snow-covered field limited attendance. Afterward, we met at a restaurant to share stories. The grandkids were really curious about what kind of mother she was, and were surprised when we told them she used to ride a motorcycle to work. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what happened with my sister. When I arrived at the funeral home, I was shocked to see how little she had arranged. I personally drove my mom's remains to the gravesite, and my brother was the one who actually placed them in the ground. At my dad's funeral, we had arranged for a hearse to take his remains to the cemetery. This time, it was a bit funny. My wife, my brother, my mom's aunt, and I took a quick drive down Main Street in Bozeman to say goodbye before heading to the cemetery. While the ceremony was going on, an SUV pulled up. It was my sister, watching from the road. I had arranged for the flag to go to my brother's since I already had my dad's flag. I could see my sister shouting as the flag was presented to him. After the ceremony, we each said something over the grave and headed to our cars. My sister called her son over and handed him 2 bags containing vials of mom's ashes for him and my niece. At the restaurant, they gave the vials to me and my brother. They're great kids. My sister then drove by yelling at me for ruining the ceremony or something and then sped off. So that's it for now. This summer, we'll decide whether to move Mom to Pennsylvania to be with her family, bury her in a national cemetery, or scatter her ashes. My brother is looking into the logistics. I would like to address some comments made. 1. Why am I short-term renting the house? My initial plan was to use it as a long-term rental until my wife and I retired in 2 to 3 years. However, my son, while working on the house, fell in love with Montana and wants to move there by the end of the summer. So we're short-term renting until then. I've met with some neighbors and given them my contact information in case any renters get out of hand. The house is near ski and outdoor adventure activities, so I don't foresee any issues. 2. Do I blame my sister for her early struggles? I don't blame my 10 or 13 years old sister for becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol. I blame my parents for moving to a drug-rich area, the government for failing to address the drug crisis, and the medical establishment for not recognizing addiction as a disease at a time. My parents paid a price with their marriage and a retirement they never got to enjoy. However, I do blame my sister as an adult for squandering multiple opportunities to get her life together. She was given a car, repossessed, a mobile home, lost because she spent welfare money on drugs instead of space rent, and a truck, a partially restored 1963 Chevy C10, which she sold for drug money. She also lost custody of her 2 kids, who have since turned out well. 3. Why didn't I take her kids? I tried, but in California they fight to keep kids with a bad mother. My wife and I would buy groceries and take them to the kids, and I took them to the dentist. But we were limited in what we could do. My sister knew that giving up her kids would mean losing a bargaining chip. It took a covert operation to get the kids to Montana and in front of a judge who finally saved them. It's funny, odd, not laughable, because I see this with my friends who were not the golden child. I get why they're angry, but damn, guess who grows up into a happy, healthy person? Certainly not the golden child. I know 2 men who had to pay for everything while their siblings got everything handed to them just because they asked. Not just a car, college education, or house. Nope, the best of everything, even if the parents went into debt or had to do without. I try to tell them, yeah, but look at what you've accomplished. The non-golden child always has a house, a reliable car, and if they want a family, they usually have one and are happily married. Meanwhile, the golden child, now in their 30s or 40s, often has scattered entry jobs that don't last a year, major debt, and lost custody of their kids. Being the golden child is a curse. I feel the same way. My husband's younger brother was the golden child. Out of 4 kids, guess who's the only one who didn't finish college, isn't married, has drifted in and out of employment, and smokes way too much weed. My husband says he's lucky he wasn't the golden child because it ruined his brother's life. Last story. Kicked out my girlfriend's pregnant sister who is in a bad situation. My girlfriend, 33 female, and I, 35 male, have been dating for about 2 years, but we've been friends since college. For my 30th birthday, I had a rather large party. She brought her sister, now 27 female. Also at the party was my little brother's best friend, now 29 male, who I basically view as my little brother. They hit it off that night and started dating soon afterward. They even quarantined together during the COVID shutdowns. Fast forward almost 3 years and my girlfriend and I started dating. A few months into our relationship, my little brother's best friend discovered that my girlfriend's sister was cheating on him with a significantly older guy. He broke up with her, moved out, and moved in with me for a time. My girlfriend's sister ended up moving in with the older guy, who lives about 2 hours away. At that time, my girlfriend and I talked. I told her that I understood if she wanted to maintain a line of communication with her sister, but that her sister was effectively dead to me. I didn't want to interact with her, talk to her, or have any engagement with her. I also said I wouldn't lift a finger to help her sister in any way and ask her not to involve me. I had previously helped her sister get her job. My girlfriend said she understood and would respect my boundary. About 4 months ago, my girlfriend's job went back to in-office, but the company is based out of state. She took a severance package and left the company. She asked if she could stay with me to save on rent until she found a new job, and I agreed. Last week, I had to go out of town for 4 days for work. When I came home, I found my girlfriend's sister staying at my house. Apparently, she had shown up in the middle of the night, distraught. Her boyfriend had been drinking, became belligerent, and threatened her, so she left. She's 7 months pregnant. I told her she had 3 hours to get out of my house before I called the police. The sister left. My girlfriend is angry. I told her that she knew my boundary, disrespected it, and didn't even call me to get my permission before letting her sister stay. This kind of situation requires 2 yes votes. I told her I would never disrespect her like that, even though it's my house that I bought and pay for. As you can imagine, this has caused an ongoing fight. Now for the top advice. Seems really convenient that it was when you happened to be out of town. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but what are the odds? My money's on them waiting until he was gone being the case. Girlfriend probably thought he wouldn't throw sister out. She was wrong. She thought she could guilt him into it once sis was already there. Big mistake. Girlfriend will be lucky if she doesn't end up looking for somewhere to sleep with sis tomorrow night. It sounds like you need to kick out your girlfriend too. 100% agree. If she's willing to disrespect your boundaries like that, it's not just her sister causing issues. It's also her. At the very least, there should have been a serious conversation before letting her sister move in. Both partners should respect each other's pace and rules. She already knew his rules and chose to disrespect them. You need to move your girlfriend out too. She took severance, so she should have money to get a place for herself and her sister.